Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is a scene for Living World of Darkness, Rage Across New York. So Samuel Sullivan got a promotion earlier today at his job. He was made head of the shop, something he was very proud of himself for, and he was very happy about. And he told a few people, he let his pack know, he let some people at the Sept know, spent some time at the Sept, and then once his lady fair got done doing some things on her end, they met, they went, they had some dinner, and then he went back to his parents' place. He sent his parents out of town. They are on an extended vacation because he does not want Antonio or Alan, who knew of them and knew that they were a weakness of his, to use and exploit that weakness. So he told them basically that he needed them to go on an extended vacation, go visit family, go visit friends, get out of the city. Didn't tell anyone of this because he didn't want them to know. But because of that, house is empty. And so he's been going between that and his girlfriend's house and his pack house to spend the night. And tonight, he happens to be at that house. Him and Lauren spent time as a couple, watched a few movies. Once they got back from dinner, took a shower, and he was having a bit of trouble going to sleep. So Lauren's knocked out cold, but he's essentially pacing his living room, thinking actually of the things that had happened the night before, giving some thought to the events as they transpired and trying to think of anything they may have missed. And as he's doing that, I'll let Michael describe what his character is doing.
Uh, the den parent Katori had taken a very keen interest in Piotr as he went throughout his days specifically trying to sign the paperwork to make sure that he could get an apartment that was off Sept and outside of the territory to not be seen as an intruder. Each little specific office in Tor made the Lupus and Pure Triber that much more uncomfortable, and it was a bit of a laugh privately to Piotr to rile him in such a way. After a day's worth of apartment hunting, he had made sure that the kinfolk of which he had lived before had sent for his things to be moved as necessary. Katori, having position, couldn't stay off the Sept forever and eventually had to leave Piotr to his own devices. At the first notion of him being alone, he did his best to try and find back to Sam Sullivan's current location. A few keynotes and a few direct phone calls gave a more clear view that Sam was staying at his parents' house while they were away. He donned himself in a more comfortable set of clothes, a slimmer black turtleneck to beat off the fall chill, and a common set of jeans and running shoes. He made his way over and did his best to try and get someone to call in advance before, but was unsure if anyone had actually made contact with Sam before he knocked on the door softly, not willing to risk ringing the doorbell and setting off every single person that was in range of hearing it to notice.
Not expecting a guest, Sam would have kind of cautiously padded over to the door, looked to the people. He saw this man before in passing one time when he was doing investigations into the Shadow Lord and the Kin of the Set. He didn't speak to him very long. To be honest, he didn't suspect that it was a Kin, and so therefore the conversation went by almost so quickly that Sam doesn't quite remember him, but he knows his face. But it's enough for him to decide, okay, honestly, my girlfriend's an MMA fighter. I've got two lightning spirits bound to me right now. Let's open the door. He gets a little bit of shock as his hand goes to the metal handle, kind of smiles instead of pulls back. And on the other side of the door, Peter would notice there are arcs of lightning coming off, little arcs of electricity sparking off of the door when Sam turns the handle and opens it. Sam Sullivan is 6'4" and not a thin person. He's broad. His Native American heritage, instead of giving him that long bean Polish look, left him more of the warrior. He's toned, but not overly or more than average so. And right now he's wearing a black, simple tank top, a pair of black sleeping pants, and he's barefoot. And his hair is kind of pulled back into essentially a man bun, as it were, doubled over a little bit. And he'll look at your character and he'll smile. Uh, it's that Shadow Lord smile, not quite welcoming, but not threatening. And he'll say, "You call at a very late hour."
Cousin, it is good to see you. I would have attempted to come at a more acceptable time, but there have been complications that restricted my schedule.
You are
I
busy. Come in.
Thank you. I appreciate your hospitality. He'll take his way in, check behind him to make sure that no one was following before closing the door and moving in such a way that if anything was invisible, it wouldn't be able to make it through the jam of the door behind him.
As mentioned, Sam right now is holding onto him, bound to lightning spirits, which to a Shadow Lord is something that is quite obvious. His hair will sometimes stand on end as the spirits move around in him. The hairs on his arms. His fingertips, sometimes lightning, little arcs of electricity will arc between them. His eyes sometimes will shift to a more bluish color, an electric blue, where they're normally deep brown. And but he doesn't seem to be paying any mind to it. It almost seems as though he's just used to it. He'll turn to your character and he'll say, "Can I offer you a drink, something to eat? Uh, Water, beer?"
I have not supped. If you are willing to provide, I am more than willing to partake.
Oh, of course, come. I will prepare you a cold plate.
He will
And
he will double take around the apartment to see if there's anyone else really active.
no,
And there's a very keen distinction in that he drops his accent. The idea of him coming across as the bumbling Eastern European sort of facade just fades away if it's only the two of them.
um, he noticed that Sam, in private, doesn't seem to have as much as his happy German, as it were. His happy, affable German. It really sometimes can be hard to believe that he's only 19. Your character he kind of comes across as being a little bit older than that. Apparently, this has aged him. He'll prepare a plate with some potato salad, uh, a few slices of some ham, some like pork tenderloin, sauerbraten, uh, a few uh, little like gherkins. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like how Germans eat. Uh, he'll say, "Do you prefer dark or light beer?"
I will take a dark.
And he'll pull out two darker style German beers. And he prepared you a very nice plate. He has a smaller snacking plate for himself. He'll set them down on the dining room table, uh, pop open the beers, put down a beer snifter for him, uh, pull himself one. Um, and he'll say, "I must apologize for not being available last night when you were undergoing your awakening, as it were. I was performing rites for the sept."
By all means, I was a minor complication to what was, from what I've become aware of, a very busy night. As he sits, he seems to throw his hands back in a very practiced motion to move away a petty or a coat from behind him, and he leans into it as if taking a throne and settling into the room. Um, there's the feeling that he is very comfortable with you, regardless of rank or any potential rage that might be leveling in the area or the size difference at all. He's not showing any idea that anything could be a threat. Uh,
Good.
with my newfound promotion, there has been a need for protocol. As expected, I am not a member of the Sept yet until I have agreed to such with the Alpha, or at least the Beta. Works are going through the process to make sure that I am introduced as necessary to those important.
what I consider very important is if you are guaranteed a place among our tribe.
Oh, but this would mean to be tested.
Yes. I have seen many young Shadow Lords, especially those who spent time knowing kin, who can find themselves shocked that Grandfather Sanders does not always accept them, even those as pure blood as yours. Listen, I will not lie. You cut an impressive figure, and I can see a measure in you that is worth noticing. But remember, nothing is guaranteed or promised. And you must remember that now.
Nothing should be guaranteed. My own power should be able to guarantee it for me. But with this, it also poses an interesting question. This will be the first of many stories that I will sell about my name. To note the pure-blooded Shadow Lord was led into the Shadow Lords potentially means nothing. It might mark as an easy pass or an expectation. Nothing really dramatic. If I am to be accepted, I would like to be challenged for it beforehand. But this is something that needs to follow after my education as a cub.
Unfortunately, you are in a bit of a tough spot. In our sept right now, there is me, and there is Victoria, the Master of Challenge, and we are the only two Shadow Lords in the sept. And Victoria is a busy woman.
I understand this. I will not do anything in particular to waste her time. So what would be an appropriate timetable?
Well, it depends on your ambitions, I guess.
Why would I put anything less than my best ambitions forward? If I'm to be a chosen warrior for Gaia, why would I sit around in the shadows as a cub, being dealt with, rather than being allowed to deal with other things that would harm us?
He smiles at him. You can tell that he's basically... You can tell that Sam is... He's not testing your character, but he's pushing the little irritations that can cause young Shadow Lords to snap. They can start really weeding out the weak ones. He's making you express your own ambition and judging it by by treating you as though you're the lowest common denominator right now in a veiled way. He's allowing you to show him where you stand. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is a sign of respect in his own way.
As far as Piotr is interpreting this, he sees it as a extended interview process and only wishes that he could have come at a more acceptable time and made proper invitation before it had walked over and knocked on the door.
I don't know how much time Victoria will have to see to your tutelage and your fosterage among our tribe. If I understand correctly by what you said, you were born under the gibbous moon, right?
From my research, a Philodox has not done the moon lore. This
Well,
is simply by a calendar.
I have almost all of the Philodox and the Sept in my pack, it seems. So I can always arrange one of them to do it. But if Victoria is not able right now because of her greater responsibilities to the Sept to see to your tutelage, I will be more than happy to help make sure you're on the right path.
And I will do what I can to make sure that Kiori Raya, though his head is in good intention, is not pressing me consistently to break the litany.
Katoria is very interested in the well-being of the young of the set. He is your Denpa, and it is most important that you listen to him and you follow his wise wisdom. I don't think he would steer you wrong, he says with a smile on his face.
That same judgmental smile is mirrored across Piotr. I will do well to learn and study under one that has been given such a prestigious place within the Sept.
But I do have one warning for you. Shadow Lord to Shadow, consider it your coming of age gift, and I mean this sincerely. You would think it is us. It would be the cutthroat ones of this set. You would think it is us that would throw others under the bus. But often you'd find that we're the ones who have to clean up the most. It is our lot. Be very careful who you make your friends with. And choose them not by the pretty package they present you with, but on what they want you for.
I will work to the best of my abilities by any means. But this also means that if I am to be manipulated, it ends rather suddenly when I realize that I'm being manipulated.
Oh, unfortunately, not everybody was born with the blessings that grandfather gives us, and so they think they're being slick. They think they're being sly and sliding right up to us, saddling it us with a smile on their face. He smiles that Shadow Lord smile of, oh, sweet summer child. Alas, the very milk that we were raised on is to always have many motivations and facets and the complexities of ourselves. It is easy to build up debts in this set. Very easy. On your own. Favors owed. I know you have been a member of the kinfolk, among others, but I don't know how much you know of the Sept itself and its inner workings in the Guard. I imagine you know all the names, but do you know the politics is the question.
There are stories, because even ones of failure or acceptance or great deals that were struck leave a story. There's reason to believe that those stories would carry to my ears, even though I would be in a remiss position before to even interact with them at all. There is some, but I am lacking a great deal. But hopefully, I can find myself as quick a learner as any other task that I put my mind to.
The other thing that I have learned about this set is, and this is something I have had to admit with a heavy heart, it does do well every once in a while to pay mind to allowing yourself a break. It's easy to become reckless after a while. When you push so hard to begin to... It's easy as a Shadow Lord to think, no, I just need to push harder, I just need to push harder, I need to push harder. Do more, do more. But I learned recently that sometimes the hardest thing can come in stepping back and taking time to breathe, taking time to assess what we have done and look at where we have been. So Margrave one time said something akin to that. I didn't understand what he was saying at the time, but now I understand what he said, that when a crow flies, 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 is this place known to fly, and that is what crows do. But if they tire the wings out and don't rest, then all they do is end up dragging themselves down. And I laughed it all. I said, no son of the Shadow Lord, no son of Grandfather Thunder, whatever, accept that weakness. But then I realized the real weakness is in not understanding how to measure yourself and how to measure your actions and how to understand that sometimes you have to stop and take time for your lovers, your families, take time to enjoy a beer, go out with a friend. The Sept has had a very, very high death rate. And I think one of the reasons I have made it as long as I have is because I take the time to stop. I don't know, maybe. Or maybe I'm not just damn good. I kind of chuckle.
With your words, are there those of the Sept that have already found themselves overextended and broken?
We have had 2 members fall since the worm. This is not something that is commonly known, and nor is it known officially. But I am assuming that that is what happened. It is known that they have gone missing. But I know things of this tale. Things were told to me in confidence that leads me to believe that the most likely explanation is that they have fallen to the bottom. I wouldn't. He's searching. He takes a moment, and your character can tell what's going on. Is that he knows how to say it in German. He doesn't know how to say it in English.
When the time that the story has come to full completion, then the story will be told.
Exactly. Now is not the time for this story, and I would not say anything concrete. That's it. I would not say anything concrete on the situation. But I have faith that this is what has happened. And he'll nod. But they are far from the only ones. There are many in this sept who are stretched so thin. Our most recent warder, Travis, fell into a state of Harano for a while, as did the keeper of the land, Callie, after the death of kinfolk. There have been many members who have said that they feel as though they are stretched thin, that there is much fighting in the sept, not much harmony.
And their own packs did not support them?
You see, this is the problem. The packs are there for each other when somebody else comes barking at their feet. But I think within their own packs, they take each other for granted. You know what I mean?
Potentially. I'd like to think that there should be a stronger bond between pack and totem and ideology than simple brute squad.
Well, There's a lot of brute squad here.
Does their leadership not take fault for their follies? I would like to think that if I was alpha of a pack and a member of my fell to Hirano, I would take his failure directly upon my shoulders, as I should have been the one to help him most directly, and chose not to.
He gives you a look that says, well, there's your answer. There is much in this sept that needs to be corrected. Was this a Shadow Lord sept? He rolls his eyes like they're on fucking casters, dude. Like, apparently he is still gay. Because he just had himself a big moment. Just roll his eyes and he can't even for a moment.
Piotr feels the Z snap.
Yeah, he
Spirit.
feels. And for a moment they developed a fucking pack link, and he heard the Z snap. He'll say, this sept has a lot in it. There is good in this sept. There is much good. But right now I feel that the dark wolf is being fed more than the light wolf, the good wolf. You know? There is much that we can do as the chosen of Gaia. You know, as Shadow Lords, part of our place in the whole paradigm of things was to advise and to be the counselors and to lead if need be. And I'm a member of the Children of Crow. Doubly so for me. He'll point to a tattoo on his forearm of a crow, and then he has one on his collarbone of a crow's feather breaking into crows. But we are clear. I am clear. You are. Come to us. And this sept does not listen to us when we demand to be heard. You have to speak through the side of your mouth. And you need to build your power and your influence so that when you finally do open your mouth, when you are older, you will have no choice but to listen.
Well,
so right now, be careful what you say.
if that is the case, what stories of your own need to be sung louder to promote you to Fossern?
Well, think.
I will allow you the time to give a proper answer when the time is due. I know that there are several stories amongst our family's tribe that cannot be sung publicly.
I did have a fairly large hand, if you'll remember, in seeing that Leodalka came to justice. My packmate Ted took the lion's share of the renown there. But I think people forgot that I was the one who took the initiative after the moot to go and investigate into this. And I was the one who correctly identified that Dalka was the one in question so that they could bring him to justice. It was Ted who did perform the trial, but I am the one who put the work into investigating it and found him. Do you understand?
I do. I will make sure that this tale is known to the best of my abilities.
Oh, thank you.
With
I
this
will
in
make
mind,
sure.
I would like to offer to delay. The Shadow Lords call to me by blood, but I do not wish to be marked as an easy entrance into the tribe. I would like you to be a Fostern before issuing me challenge. Is this acceptable?
Yes, you want me to perform your rite of passage, is what you're saying.
I do not want any question ever marking my histories that says I was given a free pass.
I have ways to put that across, but to enact them, I will tell you now that you are my ally, and I consider you. I believe that we are in each other's favors,
We
and I
could
will move
be
forward.
we could be hundreds of miles apart in different packs in different seps, but we will definitely be family before anything else.
Internally, Sam almost melts a bit because he has been so far from other Shadow Lords, and that attitude, it has literally been something he has been starved of. That close bond that can draw Shadow Lords together, where it's like, this may be, he and I might be fighting like Hellcats, but if you fuck with the pair of us, we will rain down on you.
Can
He
I
is
roll
literally,
anything to try and spot that on you?
yeah, you can probably roll perception empathy.
Okay.
He'll try to hide the severity of how deep it affected him. He's not going to try to hide the fact that his face is like, senpai! Not literally, but let me see.
Three
I guess it would be
successes.
his manipulation subterfuge. Let's throw my dice up there. Okay, I got the supporter merit. So you got 3 successes, and I have 3 successes. Tie would go to the defender, which would be
You in this case.
me. Yes. So you
Actually,
did
do
it.
you recognize Pure Breed as a social bump?
Of course I do. You
Okay,
get 2 more dice.
let's see if I get anything off these. Yeah,
You got 1. Okay, so seeing that you had 1 over his successes to hide it, you see a sense of. I'm going to tell you what you actually see, like what his actual reaction is, and not me, like saying it. Aggrandizing it as I were. You see a warmth come into his eyes as you speak. And accepting. Um, and accepting you as his brethren. Um, Cautious still, because at the end of the day, Shadow Lords do have a little bit of, especially as they're younger, they have a little bit of a, I'm watching you. But
this one might backstab me.
I think he'll aim for a vital part if you backstab me, so it's quick. Um, when he was a youth, actually, he ended up doing something extremely similar. So he remembers what he was like when he was a cub. So there's a warmth in his eyes. And he recognizes that you could be a threat, which is a good sign.
There's that awkward moment of silence, and then Piotr goes back to eating for a moment and just casually nods up. This meat is very good. I have underestimated the importance of flesh in the diet.
Have you been vegetarian? I'll
Uh,
take a sip of beer.
it was a key thing to point out from a nutritionist. More more of a focus towards the vegetables and the fruits with only enough protein to get you through the day. We
Oh,
were not looking to become bulky monsters in any specific sense. The most of us were meant to have as long a life as possible, knowing specifically that if trouble were to befall, and those of us that chose to be heroes did, we would be sent into the same meat grinder that others did. Our key point of usefulness did not stem from combat, but we were still trained, if the need be.
I'll
Lo-
nod.
Longevity and preserving the line, that was the focus.
I'll nod. I understand. I'm from Germany, so obviously I eat. I don't think my country knows what a vegetarian is. So, my friend, do you know what would happen if you had a suitcase full of sausage?
I can't imagine this ending in any other way than a pun, so please.
Have a worst case scenario.
He's gonna do his best to hold his shit together.
Straight face as fuck. Doesn't even smile. Just sips his beer. Just watching you. You gonna roll your willpower now?
It did, it's just not showing up.
Okay.
So my view says that I have 4 successes, so I'm going to
Okay,
say
that's
that
fine.
it's
I'll,
okay.
whatever.
It takes him a moment, but he manages to slowly reach for his beer and take a drink, matching yours.
Internally, these two are fucking howling like hyenas on the floor, rolling around. We all know it.
But that would be uncouth.
That would be so uncouth. We're Shadow Lords. We don't do this. He'll smile and raise his glass to him. So, let us pretend for 5 seconds that we weren't chosen by Grandfather Thunder to belong to the greatest tribe in the nation, obviously. He says, tell me a little more about yourself as a person. I want to know you a little bit. Not too much. Don't bore me. Awaken him.
Those within the kinfolk house had the very specific options of choosing what their elective activities would be. Mine was not nearly as clear-cut as some of the others. We had a surplus of investors, investigators, hackers, and cleaning crews, as they were. So my choices were left a bit more open and abroad. I did not need specifically to take my father's trade. I chose the history, the things that we were actually fighting for, the purity of the lineage, the tales, the stories, the ideologies that we needed to follow. And with this, I grew little by little each day. And yes, I was trained in combat like the rest of us were, but my times were spent studying the family tree and back and forth. I found of Preceptor Kiori Raya of the Rocky Mountains, who by himself had managed to find, dismantle, and rebuild a cairn before anyone could really understand the true nature of the spirit that he had subsided and the evils that drew within it. I learned of a Song of Thunder, the Shadow Lord that presided over the Sept of the Falling Anvil, and how his judgment and how his voice carried such authority that even in the situations where he was challenged for Alpha, those who would stand against him would say, I still respect you as Alpha, before each moment. With each story, with each tale to be told, the ancestors that bonded with them found themselves around me. And if I carry their stories, they carry with me their wisdom. Ancestor Spirits 5.
Yeah.
I learned specifically their stories proposed upon me a very great deal of expectation, though, and their spirits continue to chide me when I act out or find flaws in my logic or my plans that I could have done better. And by all means, some of them are in a more archaic way of thinking, but still, I need to press to make sure that every Shadow Lord should be able to respect me at some point in time. So this, the first steps on my journey, I want to make sure that every chapter that I have to tell is worth hearing.
You are going in the Sept to face we remember the old ways. We remember respect, honor, routine. I'm not saying the others don't, but we wear it like a crown.
Do they understand at all the way that we show our respect? There were times of some that the Shadow Lords were seen to be cast out of the great tribes.
Yeah, he'll shake his head. They don't. And you may find that to your frustration. So I want you to be aware of it now.
I understand prejudices just as well as the next. I
You
only
understand, my dear friend, have you experienced it yet?
not to the same degree that you have.
As long as you keep that. I hope you are coming into this with. I look at you and I see the ones who came through with me, that made it through our rites of passage, and through the war years, and the years that grind away your soul to nothing but dust, before you can even be considered a full-blooded member of the nation. I see somebody who walks with the confidence and authority. It's rode beside me, and so I do believe that you are coming in with great position. I do believe that if you continue in the way that you have presented yourself here, that you will not be handed your position in the tribe among us. You will deserve it, have earned it. But my only hope is that when your soul begins to grind away into dust, and you have to pull yourself together, Grandfather Thunder, and put your boots hit the ground, so that all of this, and he'll kind of point you up and down, can hold strong. Because goddamn, I will be so disappointed in it, Cat. I follow Lady Lightning in my pack. I know you are fresh to the tribes, but we are the only ones in the ship who follow the Shadow Lord totem. If when you pass your rite of challenge, you need a path, of course you are welcome in the path, said follows Lady Lightning, but if you do not come to my path, I will not consider it a slight. You will not be beholden to me. And it may not be a bad idea to have
Assets
two
in
active.
different places.
Exactly. So I'm letting you know your options when you get high enough. You would be welcome, but it would be a benefit as well if you were not enough.
I understand this keenly.
You know,
The howls that were made over the Sept.
Yes.
How worried should I be of these ideologies?
Between you and me, and whoever you choose to tell behind my back, I'll kind of wink at him again. You should be very worried.
There's
There
this awkward sadistic grin that he finally gets to see a direct challenge that he knows that he could do well to fix.
He crafted his words very carefully there for you, buddy. There is there's a very large gap in the middle of this set. There's a strong base. There's a clear St. Faustin. And there's a strong base in the others. What lies between is a gulf. And the problem is, that gulf is not easily traversed by either side.
Does the sept still follow the belief that only Athros and elders can judge Athros and elders?
You better have the backing.
Oh no, I think he froze. I'm gonna wait. For those of you watching, it's kind of late. Mistakes were made. Intense roleplay is kind of hard to keep up, so I really like this brief reprieve I have. I don't get to have to use my spooky voice all the time forever. I think I might be getting a message from her. Yep. It says 1 sec. So I'm really hoping this problem is fixable. For those of you watching, feel free to check out the site online. If you Google up Living World of Darkness, you're probably very keen to find it as a Zeta Boards forum. You can get a connection down to quite a number of lovely people, specifically STs, other players, people looking for character ties, that kind of thing. If you're interested, feel free to drop a message. We're mostly nice people. I say that loosely. We play pretty much a full global game, from Turkey to France to the US, and probably a handful of places in between. If you have a time zone, there's probably someone willing to talk and pretend to be a werewolf or a vampire to you. Living World of Darkness is focused in New York.
So his response was, you better have the backing of someone. And so you are an elder Athro if you want to.
Does this include moments like the cracking of the bone at a moot? I would hate to think that the one time during a ritual in which you could air a grievance, that those grievances would still be respected.
You are going to really... He'll smile at him, and it's that smile of, the words you speak, they're the way things are supposed to be done. Not saying it's the way it's done. But he smiles at him and he nods. It's almost that wait and find out. I can't be in your slave fuckery.
Storm and Hailcon, how terrifying.
Yeah. I've done my best as I can to try to begin to correct things, to move things in a direction. But it's almost as though they court chaos. There's very little cohesion. There's very little... There's little... Okay. At any one time, the individual elders of the sept, they themselves, each individually, are people of great strength and worth. Say, are exemplary at the job. But the moment you put them together, and anything has to be done on a sept level, it begins to fall apart. execution is not met, there's very little in the way of everybody feeling as though they have a plot. There are absolutely almost no, for instance, there are no Bane hunts. And again,
In
you
a
know
city
Bane?
of
Yeah.
this size,
Mhm.
with this much urban decay in every direction.
Yeah. The other day I needed Bane skins to make some Bane skin talons. Mm. And the water downed them going, saying it was too dangerous.
There's another kind of sadistic smile, and that's a problem I could fix, and that's going to be worth a lot of glory and honor when it happens.
I myself, one of the first nights I was in this set, I don't normally like to tell my own stories, but just this once, I guess. He has noticed throughout this conversation, Sam has been very quiet, kind of on speaking of his own deeds. But he'll say this. When I first come to this set, there was a show, a metal concert I went to. And in the metal concert, there were many Banes and Fomorians. I took to the Umber, and I began performing inside, cleansing, battling with them, fighting with them. There was so at least 2 dozen Banes. Almost all of them fought by me and Logan Graves, the Black Fury Metas. And like I said, I had to take on at least, well, maybe 2 dozen between him and I. Different creatures of the worm. Cleansed the place. Didn't even have a breach of the veil. Everything happened in Syamba. And yet they are so afraid. It's me and one other girl. And yet they are so afraid to send Garu on Bane hunts. Just simple, 1 or 2 packs out. To just clean up even the little ones.
Does this sept have a keeper of the land?
Yes, it does.
On purpose?
He loves you so much right now. He just... Oh, we need more power. Oh, we need more power. I regret my life choices in taking a girlfriend right now.
Let's not
Even if
break
you're
the
not,
line
even if you're
like
not, I don't
immediately.
care. 4 successes. He holds his
Okay.
shit back. He holds back his I love you. His sheer admiration for the new cub doesn't come shining out of his eyes. But his eyes do flash blue for a second, I'll give you that much. You made him laugh internally. Yes. Intentional. It is Kalikrakos. I can't believe he got it out of him. Kalikrakos, if you'll remember, was the one who was married to Velkas. The, well, I don't know if you know that tale or not. But,
He shakes his head no.
he was a kinfolk, and, he fell flat, to be blunt. The Black Furies abused him right into hatred for the nation. But he couldn't settle with it, and he ended up having himself done in by ritual suicide.
Well, at least he has returned to the cycle.
Yeah, exactly. What did I say? He'll lift his glass. She was married to him. And there are some that say that his death put a great weight on him, as well as several other events that happened afterwards. And she is the one whose entire pack, save for I think one other person, has either gone missing or are now considered enemies of the Sept. Her packmate Tom Snow. Yesterday, I was told by the New Order to apprehend this pack member, Tom Snow. If we saw him, I'm a guardian of the Sept. All of us guardians were given this command, and I saw him. He wanted to help me out with the rituals that we were going to cast. Regardless of whether he wanted to help me or not, I had orders. And so I told him I wouldn't be able to leave the Sept with him. And he had to wait for the order. And he could have very distraught, ran off, disobeying the Order's direct order. And it's not easy for me to do. But that is a backbeat. And I heard that in a vision on the pack link, I heard this from the sage, Sophia Nighteye. The last thing that she saw, the totem, before the link broke, was the totem die in the dry, some monstrosity. Merlin, by the way, Silverfang. See, Sophia totem. I don't know. But so yeah, Skipper Land is dealing with that right now.
I have reason to believe that Sinnoh was with Snow during his last moments. He had jumped from a bridge.
Is he dead?
I would not know. I do believe him missing. I do know that Sinnoh is going through a bit of hysteria to either make sure that he is found in some way or another.
What was she even doing with him?
She was at the bridge when it was electrified.
Oh, this rat hole only goes deeper and deeper. Why was the bridge electrified?
I didn't catch that, sorry.
He said, why was the bridge electrified?
It was not clearly described, and through her mad ravings I sought more to calm her down and get her into a proper mind state so she could take action as appropriate, rather than get the fragmented pieces of a story that she was trying her hardest to convey.
Has anybody looked into this or the Sept?
I have not had contact with Sinnoh, and I have not made my way onto the Sept until I have been able to make proper introduction.
Oh,
Hopefully you can do well with this information.
Exactly. Follow up on it, or?
I am only given the most fragments of this ordeal. I have no idea what bridge of they speak, why it was electrified, or what anyone was doing there.
He'll get up and he'll go over to a box that's it's a bag actually. I'm sorry, he keeps a bag on the couch, and he'll pull something out, and he'll walk over and set it on the table in front of you.
He will
Go on.
take it daintily and make sure that he's not damaging anything that might be inside.
It
Open
appears
the
to
lid.
be there's like a shimmering liquid with gnosis, teeming with life and vitality and energy. It's a guy's breath. You just handed him useful information. He's rewarding you for it. He gave you a guy's breath, Talon.
In Piotr's mind, the only reason to be given a Gaia's Breath talon is if something is honestly about to fuck you up really quick, right soon. So he's looking at a med kit that you just handed him. So he is just about paranoid that he is not going to be able to live through the night under his own power.
It's just the only talent he has on hand.
He will take it very carefully.
I don't have any other talents out of game right now. That's all I have left. I gave them all away.
Thank you. His voice is thunder, Raya. I will cherish this.
But cherish it, but don't love it so much that if you're dying, you don't stabilize yourself, please.
I would never do such a thing.
Thank you. I'm a Saiyajin, so I turn those out like candy. Those tend to be a fan favorite.
This only makes it worse. I give these out all the time because I'm probably going to kill you.
I mean, I'm not saying he's not doing it on purpose a little bit. I mean, you need to toughen up, dude. If
Yeah.
you're gonna have to fucking parent, you're a Shadow Lord, man. You need this. He's got a plan for you, man. Notice how quiet he's being. Clue.
I don't know if this means it's a successful interview or not. He hasn't kicked me out yet. Panic. God damn.
You're getting kicked out soon, don't worry. Not right now, but soon. So. Alright.
With
Do
that,
you want me?
he will seem to fidget a bit, and after finishing his plate, but leaving just enough of a scrap that could make it seem like you gave him enough food, and he's not asking for more. He's setting himself away from the table.
God, I'm so happy. Out of game, I don't even know how to handle this. Sam can finally sleep.
He takes a bit of a leftover receipt and a pen from his pocket and writes down his cell phone number, as he has his new one that's not connected to the rest of the kinfolk lines, and hands over his contact information as necessary.
I'm going to say some things about you on the set. I'm going to make sure. Are you a fan of Doctor Who?
I'm not particular with that show, but I'm sure that I could look up any reference that you were going to make.
Okay. At one point, in Doctor Who, the Doctor says to somebody, it's the end of one of the seasons, involving the Prime Minister. He says something to her aide, which causes her to become instilled with a deep sense of paranoia. She doesn't know what he said to the aide. You understand? Eventually, it led to her down. What he said to the aide was, "Doesn't she look tired?" Something simple, not what she took it to mean. Every once in a while you're on the set, I'm going to make sure to say something every once in a while to punctuate that that I hope that you are not just being let into the sky on your laurels. You know?
I understand.
I don't want you to take it personal, but I'm going to do that for you, and I don't want you to understand that the seeds that I am sowing are not meant to bear better fruit. Just to give you a chance to flex yourself a little bit. But trust me, if I don't think that you are worthy of grandfather, you go to perform it right, I will be the first to raise my voice to say it. And I am serious. You are in the fire now.
There is no time for cowardice nor second guessing.
No.
To commit myself is, in fact, a commitment.
When I was younger, when I began school, that's where Germany school was. It's very similar to like British. You go to primary and secondary, and then you start going to school, and it's just more focused on exact paths, you know.
Yes.
If when I went into school, my father and my mother are both doctors, but I never felt very strong pull to academia or scholarly pursuits. I was always more drawn to spirits. and to what I do is gone. And so what I did in my real life, I didn't care about. So when I was looking at my options and what to enroll in and what to do, I chose to go into metalsmith. Very blue collar sort of yes thing. And I said, it probably will never do anything for me, but I plan on being a Serge anyway. So I took this skill, this little, what I saw as a common thing, just something to, I thought maybe it shouldn't be easy, this craft to take. When I came to this country, when I first arrived, I met a woman named Miss Dizzy. And she said to me, do you have a job? I said, no, I don't have work. And actually, at the time I needed a job. My parents told me that, so they love me and they support me. So I wanted me to make my own. And, when she looked at me and she said, I have a job for you, but I don't know if you will have skill in it. It's very strange, blue-collar job. Might be wait for you to think me offering it to you. She said, I have a job for you in my metal shop. And I took the job. Today, I became head of the shop. And now, I have been left in charge. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Assuming that you're not looking tired.
Well, nod at him. He thinks he gets the gist of what he was trying to say. He'll say, there's some kind of movement in the back, and he hears some moving about. And
Piotr will stand straight up.
Give me one super quick second. Hold on really
Okay.
quickly. Like super quick, literally. Yeah, basically, you hear basically a door kind of towards the back open. And yeah, actually a very beautiful voice comes from the back and kind of asks him, it's the exchange of, somebody here, or are you going to be very long? No, I'm coming. I'm just seeing him up now. He'll get up and kind of put his little plate on your finished big plate. And he'll kind of close the door and he'll say, unfortunately, I hate to cut this short, but the missus is awake and I imagine she wants to be back asleep, so.
Piotr takes very specific movements as he makes his way out of the kitchen into the living room to face walls and to not get a good look of what his missus looks like. He's doing his damnedest to respect your privacy. He didn't know that he was treading on it to this level of invasion.
Okay, it's fine. He respects that, actually. You're going to meet her in due time, but right now is not that time. She doesn't have her face on.
Yeah.
Although she doesn't need it. Oh Lord, no. We're in 7. So yeah, he'll escort you out with all the casual, all of the politeness.
The niceties, the 3 hugs.
The 3 hugs, the kisses on the cheek, all the craps, whatever. And he'll say, I shall be at the SEP tomorrow. Would you like me to introduce you to anyone, or to maybe talk to you a little more tomorrow?
As many introductions that can be made tomorrow, the better. This is something that needs to be made quickly and hopefully removed.
Well, let me tell you, for a while, I think they made me guardian because I was the first one that people were coming across when they came into the set. I don't know how it happened. But I'm very used to giving people introductions, and I think people are used to finding introductions by me. So, give me a text. I'll text you when you leave to give you a number. Give me a text when you're around, and I'll hop on by. I don't work tomorrow, actually. Ironically, I just got this job. But, auf Wiedersehen. See you tomorrow.
I will do such. Safe
We'll give
night.
him a bow. And unless you have anything else to do, I'm going to end the scene there.
Pyotr will be checking his pulse and his breathing and looking at the Talon again and again, trying to figure out if he is poisoned or not.
He's just clear. I keep pointing this out to people.
He will walk home paranoid and eventually go to sleep and be very thankful that he wakes up.
Well, at that, and apparently Sam's proper shadow lording, I will thank the players for playing and the watchers for watching, and we will see you next time.